still loving that intro, Jake. So much better than our previous one.
I like
That's my favorite part.
Right? Jake's like, that's my favorite. He recorded that, obviously. So.
It's just a smooth voice, it's very soothing.
Yeah, radio voice.
Radio voice. You got a face for radio, Jake.
Absolutely.
No,
I've been told before.
Definitely a voice. All right. So we are on episode 7 of Learn From My Mistake podcast. So excited. So I am one of your hosts, Marie Baginski, here with the lovely Jake Remillard. And our guest this week is Luis. Always
buying.
Always buying. I love that. I love that. Luis, why don't you give our listeners a quick intro and tell them who you are, what you do?
So I'm a licensed real estate agent, real estate investor. I focus in North Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area. I used to find and structure deals for both passive and active real estate investors. But a mistake, right? It's being an agent, thinking that it's going to be easy and we're going to make all this money. And even though it's self-rewarding, you help people out. At the end of the day, if you're really trying to make a lot of money, it's becoming an investor. And I've made a lot of my investors a lot of money, which some of them, very few of them, I've kept friends with. All of them have just treated me like an agent, and I was good as the last transaction. So you live and you learn. You live and you learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's me.
How long have you been an agent there in Texas?
Since 2004. So I've been an agent for a while now. Yeah, I was in the market when I first got here. I'm from Florida. I started working with the Hispanic market, and one of the difficult parts of Hispanic market was lending. So there used to be a bank here called Banco Popular, which used to lend people with their tax ID, but they required a hefty down payment. They required a bunch of documentation, which led me starting working with investors, because investors back in that time were doing self-financing, owner financing.
Yep.
So working with Hispanic clientele got me working with investors. And then the market shifted to 2008 and the whole entire bubble, the short sale. I became a short sale guru then, because I was doing nothing but short sales. And that got me into a lot more group of investors, which if I knew what I knew then, I'll be doing a podcast in a beach somewhere. You know what I mean? But, it's in God's timing. So it is what it is. So I'm happy.
Absolutely.
I love that. Interesting. You been in the game long enough to have been through the crash, right? Of 2006, 7, 8, depending on where you were in the country. So what was that like? Any big learnings if you were to go back to that time period?
It's amazing. So I got licensed in Florida, and I was here licensed in Texas. So I had a connection of agents in Florida, and just to kind of set what it looked like back in 2006. If you had a pulse, you got a loan. Okay, back in that day, for younglings that don't know what I'm talking about, there was an 80-20 type of loan. So the banks were like, "Oh, you need 20% down to come in, but don't worry about it." The lenders will say, the loan officers will tell the borrowers, "I can get you a financing for 20%." So a lot of people were just getting houses with no money down. And then you come into the income standards. Well, it was stated income. Stated income means that anybody would be like, "Oh yeah, sometimes I make 100, sometimes I make 10, sometimes I make 200. And the bank will be like, "Oh, okay, perfect. We'll just write it up." And there will be no real underwriter reviewing any of this. Right. So people will buy 2 to 3 houses. I mean, I was an agent back in Florida, and I sold some condos. And let me tell you, man, anybody could qualify. You know what I mean?
So what would you do different now? Would you go back and buy a bunch in your own name? What would you do?
Well, no, because what that happened is, supply and demand, right? The demand was high. So, and there was a lot of houses. Everybody was building back then. So, buying houses, they were more expensive. People just wanted to buy houses. People had no right to buy a house who bought a house, no hit to my car dealership friends, but it's like going to get a car. They want to see how much they can get you in the car for. They don't care if you qualify for that car or not, right? And so the problem with that is when the market corrected itself, both here in Texas and over there in Florida. Like it just, you bought something for 200,000, let's say, that really was worth 150, but because the market was flooded, now it's worth 80. So it was a very interesting part of the market because I would have bought when the market crashed. So if you guys ever saw a movie Big Short with Bale, what's his face, Batman?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, no.
What's his name? Batman. Batman. He's Batman.
You like Batman.
So that's when I would have bought, because we were buying properties, and I was working for multiple companies then, that we were buying properties like 30 cents, 40 cents on a dollar. I'll give you guys a quick story. Countrywide. You guys remember Countrywide?
Oh, yeah.
So for the youngsters, right, that are watching this, Countrywide was a bank that was like Bank of America, big boy bank. But they really messed things up because there was one scenario where we actually sued Cross Country Bank to give us the actual file, and they didn't have it. So instead of going through litigations, they just decided to sell it to us for like 20 cents on the dollar. And I'm talking about all types of properties we were buying just super cheap. Well, my investors, the ones that are working back then, I did the short sale. Like when I'm talking about the short sale, they gave me a list of pre-foreclosures. I would reach out to those lists. And back then, skip tracing was something of the past. So I would go and knock on the door. My line was, good things happen to bad people, but bottom line is you have to take care of it. And I'm here to give you an option. Can I come in and tell you what the options are? You can do a loan modification, which was very rare for you to get approved on. You can do, you can file foreclosure, which I'm not an attorney, but I'm thinking that's pretty bad. Or you can do a short sale. And then I will tell them the story of my uncle's horse. You guys want to hear the story of my uncle's horse?
I would love to hear the story of your uncle's horse.
So my uncle grew up with this horse. He loved the horse, but one day he gets hit by a truck, right? So my grandfather was like, you know what? I'm going to take him to the horse shed, and I'm going to have them, take him out. And my uncle's like, no, that's my horse. I want to make sure that if he's going to see the last thing he sees, I want him to see me, and I want him to take him down. So, Mr. Homeowner, do you want to be my uncle and take responsibility and make sure that you sell the house instead of some bank that doesn't care about your horse, doesn't care about your house, comes and takes it from you? Let's do the right thing today and start the short sale. Well, short sales will take literally like over a year to 6 months, but the profit margin was there. So these investors will buy them at like 20 cents a dollar, turn around and sell them for 50 cents on a dollar, make the spread, and it was straight factory. It was a very good time to be in real estate back then. For people that knew what they were doing, let me tell you on that.
Right.
And so you mentioned that skip tracing is a thing of that you said past, but I'm guessing you meant future because it wasn't quite around yet. So door knocking, that is cutting your teeth on some rough sales. Like you must have just been beat up there. Can you tell us about maybe like some mistakes you made when you were first approaching that, or maybe some like horror stories, or just something you would add to the door knocking experience?
So, everything happens for a reason, right? I was very shy, not shy, but I was very like, you don't like to talk about money. Hispanic families don't like to talk about money. And definitely if you're going through some bad financial things, we don't like to talk about money, right? So when I was in college, I worked for a credit card collection company. And let me tell you, man, if you want to hit someone right in the face about just talking about some awkward things and getting the ball on the road, it's collections, right? So I think that built me up. And in collections, I don't remember if it was for every 20 calls, I'll get a collection call. So I did the same thing when it came to door knocking. For every 10 doors that I knocked, I got a yes. And then the biggest thing for me was that a lot of these people that I door knocked, they would, be upset with me, tell me to go find the highest tree and jump off it face first. But then when the foreclosure date was coming, boom, they would call me. And what I've noticed is, my personality is I'm very honest and very like to the point. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm just like, when they used to tell me what's in it for you, I'm like money. Right? Oh, can I stay in the house a little longer? I was like, look, the short sale might take a while. The short sale might not get approved. You might be getting kicked out of the house. Oh, then why should I go with you? Oh, because I'm an option. This is not your only option. And I think that allowed people to be open to me. So to answer your question, it was just like, okay, they told me to go F myself on this one. maybe the next one they'll tell me to go after myself. But if I can knock 10 doors,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get a lead and I'm gonna make something of it. And working commission, it's hey, I gotta get this 10 doors down. So it was fun. I mean, I miss it, but it's not scalable.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's hard to do now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's something for people to pay attention to, is the importance of paying attention to that metric. That if you know what the number is for whatever you're trying to do, you know how many times you need to go do it before you're going to find something.
Right.
So it's pretty cool that you were able to kind of work that out at 10 and just.
It became a game.
Yeah,
it became a game. And honestly, like I have really tough skin now, and like people have to literally kick me out of their house for me to, you know what I mean, for me to say no or walk away. But it's a fun experience, and then just educating the consumers and helping them out has always been a good thing.
Yeah. I'm sure it made you a good speaker, good conversationalist. You gotta have a lot of good quick comebacks, right? When people are trying to kick you out and you're like, wait, there's more.
Yeah. I mean, it's about pain. You know, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like I can remember a scenario where, you know, the guy was so mad at me, which actually me and him are still friends on Facebook. He was like, how dare you come into my house, you know, while my family's eating, like, you know, I should call the cops, you know, in fact, I'm going to get out of my house. I'm going to whoop your ass. And I was like, look, man, I'm here to let you know that if you don't find a solution, you and your family are going to be out of the streets. And then when that happens, what are you going to tell your kids? And then he was like, how dare you come? And I'm like, man, I'm not testing your manhood. You know, I'm just here to let you know that shit, like you need to do something. Like, I'm here. Like, you know, I'm here. And he's like, you know, it is what it is, right? And I want to tell you guys that, like, if you've been praying for a solution, like, I'm at the doorstep, man. Come on. And he was so pissed. And he finally got out of the car. I mean, he got out of the house, and I was like, man, we're about to fight. I was like, let's do this. We're about to fight. And as he got closer to me, I realized that he wasn't sad. I mean, he wasn't mad. He was sad. And, you know, I told him, he was like, hey, man, like, I see that you're in pain, and I'm here to help you out. Like, let's work throughout, and let's see what options you have. And if I'm not the best option, fine. And I used to call the bank with them on the phone. So I would let the bank also tell them the option, so they know that I was real. But I think anybody else would have jumped into the car and did, because that guy, and I mean, he was much bigger than me too, and he was just, but at the end of the day, like, you know, when someone fails, and this is, you know, thinking about a mistake, they think it's a challenge on their manhood, or the challenge as a parent, but the truth is, we have to have the right to fail forward. We have to fail to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny, after that scenario, he was able to buy another house. I was his agent in the process of buying a house. You know, obviously way under his means. So now he's able to pay it off. And when the market shifts, that house now costs a lot more money. So he's happy about it. In fact, now he's mad because he has to pay higher taxes on it. You know what I mean? But he grew up in that time and became a better person for that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Luis, fast forward a little bit to today, and right, and what are you doing now? What are you focused on in real estate today?
So, I buy off-market properties.
Love it.
Always buying. So I hear.
Yeah, always buying. So we are doing agent outreach, and obviously we buy the stress. Agent outreach is that we reach out to agents, and we're the best and fastest way for agents to get paid, right? Because we're talking to agents, and they might have an off-market deal, and sometimes even a probate deal, or sometimes these funky deals that traditional buyers don't know how to handle. We're able to take it down. And then obviously the stress properties. The stress is defined into two types, right? The homeowner is going through the stress, death, disease, divorce, or the property is going through the stress, which is destruction, you know, fire damage, tornadoes here in Texas. You know, I don't know what's in. Where are you at, Jake?
I don't know. Tax liens, they're behind on their mortgage.
Yes.
There's
Stuff like that. Those are our bread and butter. Yeah. You know, so we focus on those two sources.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you have some business partners.
I do. They're my brothers from another mother. I think we were separated at birth, and then we were all brought together. I mean, you can't tell one of us from apart. I mean, you look at us and they're all brothers. We're all.
And I think I'll never forget you guys just because of how we met at boardroom, and
Mhm.
the first I think the first thing that we talked about was, everybody had to recommend something that was really working from them. And,
Right.
we were all talking about, I think we brought up traction. We brought up some of the concepts from traction.
Mm.
You had brought up, I can't remember what you brought up, but I
I
can
think it was
certainly,
agent outreach. I think it was agent outreach. He was talking about talking to agents on the phone,
yeah.
Right.
and then his partner, because it was okay. Let's be clear before you announce
Mhm.
this, Jake, because it
Yeah.
was things that are working for you, business or personal.
Yes.
Right.
And this is a very collaborative space, and we're all, very supportive and hearing what everybody's going to say. And then your partner, what was his name?
Lorenzo,
Lorenzo.
the
Okay.
one that talked about the sipping coffee a different way.
Yes, yes, sipping coffee a different way, or AKA a coffee enema
Yes.
that
Yes.
Yes.
lives in my brain now
Well,
forever.
actually, full disclosure, I'm about to have one on Thursday.
Ah,
Yeah. Hey,
no, okay.
don't bash it until you try
No,
it.
you know what?
Yes, it is amazing.
I admitted I've had colonics,
Mm-hmm.
so just water squirted
No,
up there, but not coffee. So
it,
I'm intrigued.
it's different, and I do it at a place, and I've done it without going to the place. But you feel awake. You feel. I mean, especially if they put cream on it. It's not just.
I take my coffee black.
Yeah, no, but it is super healthy, and at least it makes me feel good, and then it helps my digestion. And I think as you get older, you have to rely on other things besides just being young. I think you have to take care of your body a lot different. And I know when I told Jake I was turning 41, he was like, "Damn." But as you get older, you definitely have to take care of yourself, and I think something like that. And coffee enemas have been in around for a long time. Trust me, I'm not gonna just put anything up my booty without doing my research, right? so,
I
so
love
yeah,
it.
We're a family show here.
yeah, okay.
No, no,
No,
no.
I'm kidding.
Louise asked, "Is this PG-13?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I curse like a sailor, so you're fine."
Yeah, well, it's you're talking about mistakes. It's also the different ways that you celebrate, right? Like back in my day when I started the game, like we had a good month, and I used to work for a big retail company. What's the thing that realtors do? They go out drinking and they'll go out fun and all that. And now that I'm older, I'm like, pre drinking. No, I'm okay. Could I get home at 10:30? You know what I mean? But here's the truth: like learning from your mistakes, and if you have someone here that celebrates going on and beyond, like you shouldn't. Like I think going to things like the boardroom, participating in stuff that you're traveling, you're getting meeting people like you. I think that's the best way to celebrate stuff. Because not only does it take you out of your comfort zone, but it also opens up your mind to other great people. Yeah, it sounds like fun when you're young to get drunk and party, but you're not getting anything in return. You're just
Right.
getting a hangover, and as you get older, those hangovers are just not worth it.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna start putting coffee up your butt, and you know what I mean. And then what else are you gonna put up your butt? So you people out there, don't party too hard.
Man, that's some good advice. Don't party too hard.
Well, if you're gonna party right.
Party right. This is true. All right. So, Luis, if I just asked you so far in your real estate career, in your businesses in general, what has been your biggest mistake so far?
There's one, but there's several stories, and I want to be vulnerable, especially with you guys, and especially with people listening, because I know people are going to do it. So I'm going to break it down into 3 stories, right? Okay. The first story is who your mentor is, right? And it's who the people you associate with. I think is the biggest mistake that someone can make. So there was a gentleman that I started working with. I'm not going to mention his name because he gets me mad, and he was just an awful man. But he came from the tech industry, didn't really know the real estate. We met when I was young. and I was pumping out all the stress properties. I used to work for the specific company that I worked for. What they actually did was they would charge investors like $20,000, and they'd be like, "Oh, we'll teach you how to flip a property," and they'll have agents like myself find them a deal. They'll have their own crew. They'll buy the property that I found through a short sale. They'll fix it up, and then they'll turn around and sell it. So they made their money back. Well, this gentleman that came from the tech industry was like, "Look, I want to work with you solely. I get what they're doing." Very smart guy. And he's like, "Find me the deals. I'll buy them from you. You'll be my listing agent. We'll make plenty of money." And I'm like, "Fine." I found them the deals. We did 3 or 4 deals. We made plenty of money. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to get my daughter to become an agent so she can list them." And I was like, "That really doesn't fit our business model. Like, plus you told me that I was going to be the agent on the backside." He's like, "No, don't worry about it. It's just, I'm systemizing things." And because he was my mentor and he was very wise, and there was a lot of knowledge that he gave me, I believed him, even though I kind of felt like, So long story short, like as we grew in our business, he put me more to the backside, and didn't save me the way that I should have, right? For example, there are deals that when you do a short sale, you got paid 6%, right? And sometimes I'll drop my commission to 5%. Well, if I'm finding the buyer and I'm finding the seller, I usually keep the full 5%. But he was like, no, you need to give my daughter 2.5. And I was like, why? So he had his own, from the very get-go, I believe he had his own very hidden agenda. And so my lesson there is to find the right mentor. The second lesson is I fell in love with this girl. I was in love with her. She was in a different industry. She was in the medical industry. And she was like, "Teach me everything you can about real estate." And we started working together. And I taught her everything blindly. And everybody was like, "No, man, she's not the right girl for you. I should have listened to my true friends." And I was like, no, I'm in love. It's just, you guys don't understand. And long story short, she ended up working with someone that wanted to learn my systems while she was working with me and try to, take my clients while she was supposed to be with me. And it was just, wow, like, I trusted this person more than I trust anybody else, right? Like, I love this girl. And it was just heartbreaking to have to be in that scenario, and then to realize that everybody's out for their own. And if sometimes someone that you care about can see something, and you need to pay attention to that, right? You need to pay attention to what people tell you. And then my last scenario, which was not as much as a heartbreaker when it comes to emotionally, but it comes to business. Like, I've had the pleasure of training a lot of agents, right? Especially when it comes to the stress property. I ran my own team when I was at Keller Williams. I've had a team of 7 agents. I've mentored plenty of agents, and I've mentored this one specific agent. She was like my little sister, right? I got along great with her husband. Even to this day, me and her husband, we're super tight. And she ended up not appreciating what I taught her, and just kind of told everybody that, Louis makes me work all this, and bottom line, our commission structure was 25-75. And she was like, "Oh, I never knew Louis was going to take 25% on my commission." And we had something in agreement in writing. But she made it sound like I was taking advantage of her when she knew that. But I guess she wanted to play the victim mentality. So why am I telling you these 3 stories? Is because it is very important for you to surround yourself with people that are right. And how you determine that, right? How do you determine the people that you're right? And guys, I am not religious, but I am spiritual. But what I found out is when you associate with someone that has a higher belief in something, they feel like someone's always looking out or looking at them for them to do the right thing. So for them to do something wrong, they think twice before doing something wrong because they feel like they're going to get judged. So to me, that is a big thing. And I know, Mary, we had talked about finding the right partners before, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm very blessed to have Emmanuel and Lorenzo as my business partners now, because I think not only do each of us provide a unique part of the business, but at the end of the day, they're God-fearing men, just like I am, and they put we put God first in everything.
Yeah.
And if we do that, it doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about being right. It doesn't matter about having the recognition. It just matters about doing the right thing first. And if you do that, I think it allows you to have a better business moving forward at all. And there's a lot of houses. There's a lot of money to be made. But the minute you're greedy and you have the wrong partner, I think that's where things go south.
Yeah. No, that's amazing advice. I mean, even today, Jake and I, earlier today, we were having our, we have quarterly meetings, and we were going over traction, which you mentioned before, Jake, our VTO, our vision traction organizer. And we were going over our core values, and one of them was integrity. Right. And I was like, it can't just say integrity. Like there's gotta be something there, right? So like we know everyone on the team understands what we're talking about. And you know, Jake was like, it's just do the right thing even when nobody's looking.
Yes.
Right. And it's like when you're surrounded by people that share that mindset, and they're all gonna be like a key member of the team, have the right attitude, it changes how your team works so much and how you and your partners work. So I think that's really, really good advice.
Yeah, that definitely. It's a blessing to have the right people and people that are willing to be honest with you and tell you, hey, you know, you're messing up not only on your personal level but on your business level. I think that's why I like the boardroom too, because you're meeting people that you really don't know, that they're just shredding your business, man. They're just making you feel super humble, super little.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're also meeting big dogs that are doing like $1 million, and I think that also opens up your mind to be like, wow, you know what I mean? Like I want to be like that person, and I want to learn as much as I can from that person. And I think the more that you meet them, the more you realize that they're good people. And but bottom line is they just work hard and they just make things happen.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think it's interesting, you know, Luis. We've had 7 guests now. You're the 7th, and
nice.
almost all of them.
Lucky number 7.
Yeah.
Yes. Almost all of them have, you know, something similar to say as far as either mentorships or partnerships being, you know, something that's so crucial, but also one of their biggest mistakes. So I think that speaks volumes about this industry. So thank you for sharing that.
No, definitely.
Yeah. And we're going to have, you know, your partners going to sign up too and get them on here, because I know that they all have a unique perspective and unique experiences. So I would love to hear from each and every one of them. So again, thank you. Before we wrap up here, Luis, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, if they're trying to do some real estate in Texas, let people know, how do they get in touch with you?
So 214-664-3579. Or you can email me at m4hboardroom@gmail.com. We're looking for buyers and we're looking for sellers. If you are going through a distressed property anywhere, you know, if someone has died in your family and you don't know what to do, if you're getting divorced and you just need a shoulder to cry on, you know, just call me.
It's like it very comfortable.
You know what's funny? No, but being serious. When bad things happen to good people, or when bad things happen, people don't know who to turn to. So turn to an expert. We've done probates. I've done a ton of probates. I've done distress. I've done with people who have died of cancer. You know, it's different things that you have to handle when bad things happen. So I think right now that the market is shifting and a lot of people are over leveraged and they don't know what to do. I think they need to talk to a professional. And if you're in North Texas, you better call me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you've been in the game for almost 20 years. I don't know if you realize that. That probably hurts to say. 2004, almost 20 years. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Luis. I really appreciate
you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. And right now.